What up, everybody? My name is Marcus Whitley, and this is Good Behavior. Now, you can find me on all social media at I am Marcus Whitley, and find any of my books, Both Sides of the Street, Choices and Consequences, Greatness Under Pressure, and Battling Demons, all on Amazon. Now, to keep up with the latest episodes, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. What's going on? My name is Marcus Whitley, and yes, this is Good Behavior. Now, today I have a special guest with me by the name of Darian. You want to introduce yourself and say hi to the viewers?
Yeah, hi, I'm Darian James. I'm an LMHC, a licensed clinical mental health counselor, and I just opened up my private practice in Westfield, actually.
Okay. So, how did you get into that field?
So I actually originally went to undergrad to be a nurse.
Okay.
And I was a nursing major for the first 3 years of college. And then my senior year, I was like getting drunk every single day, just like either going to class stoned out of my mind or drunk or hungover and falling asleep, basically. And I got mandated to go to counseling because they were like, you're passing all your classes, but we can clearly see like you've got something going
Okay.
on. And so they mandated me to go to counseling. And then at that moment, like, I was talking to my mom about it. It was my first week of my senior year of my undergrad. And I was like crying every single day. And I was like, Mom, like what? Like, I don't know like what to do. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to be Will Hansen, which was one of my professors in college. And he had the life. Like, he worked in a school with kids. He had his own private practice. He was like an adjunct professor at a college. And I also, my internship that I worked at, he used to go there just to do like consults, and he would get $500 an hour just to go there
Wow.
for that 1 hour. I'm like, I need him. I need to be him. And because I always wanted to do psychology, but I was lazy and I didn't want to. I knew that if I chose psychology from the jump, that I would have to go to get my master's, and I wanted to get money the quickest way that I could.
Okay.
Like, so I knew that if I went for nursing, I could go and straight to a hospital and get money immediately. Then I was gonna do travel nursing. My little sister, she was in the NICU, so that was like that was my goal. But then I was just like, no, like when I was in my what are they called? My like rotations in the hospital and stuff, I was hiding in the bathroom. Like, what can I do to hurt myself enough so they'll let me leave? But so I like don't actually hurt myself because I didn't want to be there. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna just do it because I can either spend like this next year hating myself and the rest of my life hating my career, or I can just switch it now, go through the 4 years of my master or 3 years of my master's, and then be done. So I did. I switched it, and I still graduated on time, and then I ended up coming actually out here to get my master's at AIC.
Okay. So, what made you want to be a nurse then? Was it just like
So I always wanted to help people. So I have 11 siblings.
Wow.
So, and my youngest, like five, are one now just turned 22, 18, 14, 13, and 11 are the last ones. And they all like lived with me all growing up. You know, we very, very close family. Like, I basically raised them, me and my sister, when my sister lived with us too. I have older siblings, obviously, as well. But so we did a lot of that. And then when my mom was in the hospital for my sister, I was the healthcare proxy at the time. So I was a senior in high school, and I was driving. We lived in Vermont, and we were driving up to Bay State. Every day I had to drive because they would call me like, your mom's bleeding out, you need to come here. Oh, your mom's bleeding out, you need to come here. And I would literally pick up all my siblings. I would be at school and I would have to leave, pick up all my siblings. I would bring them up to my sister's house so she could watch them. So then I could go all the way up there to be with her. And then we kind of did that process for months, for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
While my mom was in the hospital. They were trying to slow down labor.
Yeah.
So then once my mom had my sister was then in the hospital for 4 weeks. So we still continued to do that every single day. I would wake up, go to school, go to work. Go ahead. I played sports too, so I would do that. And then come home, take care of the kids at home, deal with that. And then, all that over again. But when I would go up to the hospital with my sister, I would like look around and there was just so many babies like that just had nobody. And I was like, wow, like that's devastating. Like I wanted to be there for those children who didn't have anybody. But then I realized, like, once I was taking blood pressures and stabbing people with needle, I didn't actually want to do that. I just wanted to be there emotionally to like help these people. And I'm like, oh, well, shit, that's psychology. So what am I doing? Like, why am I wasting my time? So that's what I just segued into that, because I was going to go to be a NICU nurse because of my sister. I loved it. I felt for those babies. Like, it was devastating seeing so many babies just by themselves because their parents were whatever, drug addicts, or just they didn't have the time to be able to come see them.
Yeah.
It's devastating. And there's just so many of them. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. But I didn't want to stab little babies with needles. That freaks me out.
So what age range do you work with the kids?
So the youngest, I worked for an outpatient clinic for the last 7 years. And the youngest that I had at that clinic was a 4-year-old. And then the oldest that I had was 87.
Okay.
So I have a wide range of clients. But when I originally started with that company was when I worked in residential for that company. And age ranges as well were like 4 to like 17 in that range.
Okay.
But when I first started out, like as an intern, I had a lot of kid clients. And then all those kid clients were still with me up until I just left for my private practice. Okay. And some of them even I took with me. So that's like, because I've maintained those relationships for so long with these kids, like since they were 4. And one of them actually was like even in residential with me, then into my private practice. Like, so it's just my journey with them.
Okay, yeah, that's a good relationship that you've built with them. So if you're gonna go do it yourself, of course they're gonna follow you because they don't want to lose you. So what is it like working with the younger kids?
So like little kids in like the say like 4 to 8-year-old range, it's definitely more play therapy. Like I do a lot of like cards, emotional games, the movie Inside Out.
Yeah.
I have a game that I do with that because a lot of kids have, emotional regulation issues. That's a main thing. ADHD, emotional regulation issues, like that's very, very common. So it's getting kids to like stop, slow down. So like Jenga is a really good one for that because they have to like focus and pay attention and not, so, but also I'm talking to them while I'm doing it.
Okay.
So I'm building the relationship with them. And then a banter is like really important, especially for teenage boys though, because I've had teenage boy clients, okay, that I started seeing them when I started working, so 2019, and for like the first 3 years, they just did not speak to me. Like, it was like, I knew that if I asked a question and it was no, they would say no, but if it was yes, they would say maybe. So that was the only way I could get. I had to ask questions in so many different ways to get the answers that I wanted out of them. Just now, like after 3 years of working with that client, for the last 2 years, they've now been speaking to me. And that took some strength for me. Like, I just would be like, oh, okay, so you're just going to beat me in Uno, but then you can't talk to me. Oh, okay, it's cool, it's fine. I'm not even mad. So just bantering with them, like fucking around with them, making them like realize like it's really not that serious. Like, I'm just here genuinely for you and I'm not going anywhere. So like, you're eventually either going to just listen to me talk shit the whole time, or you're gonna banter back with me. And then that's what he did in the end. He would banter back with me and he would be like, oh yeah, well, you suck at Uno too, so that's why you're losing now. And I'm like, oh, so we have things to say today, okay. But it was great because in the end I actually found out what he was going through. Like I knew, but he never told me. So once he finally felt that after a long time, like that's like the best feeling ever. Like, finally, like, you're telling me. Like, now I can help you with these things because before, like, I know, and I can only segue into it so many different times in so many different ways without outright being like, I know this is what's going on with you. Like, I want them to want to tell me.
Yeah, that's the thing I've learned, like, with working with high school kids is I've noticed that they want to talk about these things, but they have to feel comfortable with you first. So it's going to take some time. Like, a lot of them won't just open up right away.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, as hard as it gets, like, I love it. Like, because they see that I'm there for them on the good days, the bad days. like no matter what they're going through, and never
Right.
switch up on them.
No, and that's the key, honestly, consistency. Knowing that you're going to be there no matter what. Like a lot of these kids don't have consistency in their life. A lot of them, especially in this area, have DCF involvement or their other family members taking care of them, things like that, and they don't feel like they have any constants in their life. So having just a therapist even, or a teacher at school that they feel close with, like that's everything to them. And so if that does go away, like that's okay, traumatizing, just like the previous life was. It's just continuing to have that cycle for them, which is shitty. And so that's being there, being able to be there for them in that way is really nice.
It is. Now, working with the younger ones, have you noticed more like signs of behavioral issues or mental health issues?
So a lot of the children now are like being misdiagnosed with ADHD, just because parents don't want to deal with their children. Genuinely. And I like, this is a big thing that I have with like parents all the time. Parents like, I just don't want my kid to have to be on medication, da 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 da. So yes, there is behavioral things in school, but a lot of it is in revolving around ADHD and kids who do have a lot of energy. Now, just because your kid has a lot of energy doesn't mean that they have ADHD.
Right.
You know, and so people are so quick to put their kid on ADHD medicine without even doing any trial and error to like see if their kid really has ADHD. So for me personally, like I have my clients, I'll have them initially like, okay, I think your child has ADHD, so call the school, set up a meeting, you know, do the set up for a 504 or IEP. I'll write a letter stating this is his diagnosis, and then we'll get accommodations for him from there. We'll do that for 3 months, and if nothing has changed, then we will come back and reconsider medication. Because then, like we've exhausted all possibilities of getting them all the things that they needed for 3 months. And then if they still need help, then it's clearly something more than just accommodations can help.
Yeah.
So,
Because, like I said, I know working with these kids, they're always complaining about having to take the medication and the way it makes them feel.
yeah. And because a lot of them don't really have ADHD. They just had misplaced energy, and their parents don't want to actually have to sit down and play with them. Like, just go play on your phone. Because we also, you know, as parents, we do get sucked into our work. Me specifically, my work is on my phone. My daughter always tries to take and hide my phone. And I'm like, I know, baby. Like, I'm sorry. I know. But it's like, people are constant referrals. People are constantly messaging me about their problems because people have my number. If I tell people, like, at the end of each of my sessions, I'm like, hey, you know, you have my number. You can call me at any time. I may not always respond right away, but I will as soon as I see it. You know, even if it's something that's like crisis need, I'll tell you to go out to the nearest emergency room, you know, or call crisis, and I give them the crisis number. But sometimes I have the time. Like if I don't have my daughter, I have the time. I'll just pick it up and I'll answer, and I'll have a session with them in there because they just need that in the moment.
Yeah.
And it could be like a 5-minute thing, but it's just, again, being able to be that consistent person for someone. You can't do it sometimes and then not sometimes. They're gonna be like, okay, you're not trustworthy, just like the rest of them.
Yeah, and they notice everything, and all it takes is one time for them to see something different, and then they shut down for good.
That's it. And then you have to start the process all over again. All over again. Yeah. Not fun.
Now, you said you have your own private practice.
Yes.
So what was the process like opening that?
God. So I actually, I was seeing a therapist that used to work at the company that I worked for. I'm not seeing her anymore, but she was actually helping me through that. I use a site called Simple Practice, and it pretty much does everything for you. It does all the billing and the sending out the paperwork to the insurance companies. And all I have to do is put in like my client's name and phone number and email, and it sends all the paperwork to my clients.
Okay.
For them to all fill out, and then Simple Practice like puts it in the right categories for me, and then I just had to go through my like insurance paneling and make sure that I had all those forms like, you know, filled out, and then so to be able to see clients with insurance, you have to be paneled in their insurance. And we have like, as a therapist, we have like NPI numbers, then we have our licensure numbers, then we have our CAQH numbers. So I literally sat there and filled out a contract for an insurance company the other day. It was like 55 pages. And it took me like all day, and then it erased. I was so mad.
Wow.
But the credentialing process does take a while. The plus side and negative side about working for the company that I worked for is they paneled me in all the insurances when I worked for them, but they did it under their group number. Even though I'm an independently licensed clinician, they made it so I could only see those health insurance people if I work for them.
Okay.
So I had to physically call each of the insurance companies and basically ask for permission for them to switch it over to my NPI number. And a lot of them are, but I just had to fill out like another like application. But the plus side is I was already in their system, so it did happen a lot quicker. Whereas with most people, it would take like 6 months to a year to get all the credentialing again. If you've never been credentialed in all the insurances, which is awful. So that has all been like in the works. And then I actually decided to post so when you get simple practice, actually, you have to have malpractice insurance, cover your ass. The malpractice insurance company that I use, they paid for a 6-month subscription for Psychology Today, which is where you can get all your referrals from. Okay. So then I made my profile on there. I like sat on it for a day, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna post this on the Westfield community forum. And so I did. And then as soon as I did, I've been getting an insane amount of referrals. Like, it was happening like every minute. I was getting an email, and it was getting emails and texts and phone calls like nonstop. And I was like, oh my God, like I can't even focus on this because I'm still working my other job. And I had 83 clients at that job. Wow. So I'm like, I can't, I'm like, I need to quit. Like I cannot do both. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, and that literally, so my last day officially is actually tomorrow. Which I'll just be doing, like finishing up paperwork, closing out clients that I haven't seen in a while and things like that. But yeah, so I got a crazy amount of referrals from Westfield, which is awesome. And I kind of realized as I was like getting all of them, I did like 25 free consults, and they all just happened to be women, and they were all kind of going through the same things. And I was like, okay, so this is like an all-female practice right now. Like, that's just kind of how it is, and I'm cool with it. Like, I'm actually, like, feel like that's something that I need, like, kind of women empowerment right now. That's something, like, I personally went through a lot of stuff in the last year, which these women also are going through, and I just feel like I'm gonna, like, help them and also help myself at the same time. Well, so I'm really excited about that. I found my passion, because the last 3 years working, it was like pulling teeth to get to my office. And I love my office. My office, I decorated it myself. It's such a good time in there, but not anymore, because I was like, I don't want to go here, because, again, my clients were all the same clients that I had for so long. And a lot of them, didn't have the same, like, kind of things going on in their life. They were just kind of repeat things. They didn't really have, they were plateaued. Yeah. But they just wanted to see me, which is like, fine. I love that. Love you guys. Love to see you. But like, I actually want to help people. Like, that's my fun part about going to work, is actually helping people. So being able to talk to all those girls and hear them all say this, I was like, yes, I got this. And I'm like excited to talk to them again, which is lovely. Have not felt that in forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to find your passion. And when you do, like, it feels so good going to work every day and just knowing that you're doing something you love and helping people at the same time. Like, that's why I do this. I love doing this. No matter how bad the anxiety is that I get, I just know that what I'm doing is more important than whatever I feel like in the moment.
Right. And once it's done, it's done. And you did a good thing. Pretty much.
Now, do you want to let the viewers know how they can find your practice?
Yeah, you can actually go on Psychology Today and literally type in my name, Darian James or Darian Alexandra. Any of those will pop up, and I'm like the first one, and it's a picture of me looking just like this. My hair's even curled just like this. And there's a picture of the Westfield, actually. It's like a mural that's in Westfield, and it's behind me in the picture.
Okay.
Which my sister actually took pictures of.
Now, I hope this episode was able to show you why mental health is important and that you should talk about it instead of keeping it to yourself. And also, I want to thank my special guest for letting you know how she opened up her own mental health practice. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
My name is Marcus Whitley, and this is Good Behavior. So until the next episode.